Greetings, aloha in Lakesh, and namaste. What a wonderful day today has turned out to be. I went a bit earlier than I actually wanted to. I actually went and did the food shopping. I thought it might be prudent to do it today. And despite the indications of the traffic otherwise, the actual shopping was not the hustle and bustle I'd sort of anticipated. And it was so wonderful to meet some real humans who are very aware and also feeling that they were the only ones that could see the nonsense that's going on in this reality. I also would love to thank a very good friend of mine who has manifested the most glorious blue skies today. A little bit cold, but plenty of sunshine, lovely and bright. Just to show you here, it's now 4:30 in the afternoon in best soul time, as opposed to Greenwich Mean Time. So still got that hour of daylight longer than most people have because they've gone with the clock. But I look out there, I've got a pole, it lines up with the garage door, and it's always 3 o'clock. Give or take a little bit, the sun might be one side of it or the other, depending on where it is, how high it is, where it forms that figure of 8, the analemma. But anyway, back, I digress. This is a little bit all over the place. I was having a conversation with Neville Goddard this morning, in my mind, of course, because that's where everything happens. Everything starts with a thought, and that is exactly how everything is done. It's just a little suggestion, and it plants a seed. I mean, I'd still like somebody to show me a book that shows it. Well, it is shown in books and it is shown in illustrations, but show me the real tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I know exactly where they are. They're depicted and they're shown in many illustrations as this massive tree that goes up to the sky, beyond, goes into the firmament like a large piece of broccoli. Well, regardless of whether it was, it is. It's your veins, it's your arteries, it's your nervous system. Just have a look at a diagram of how they replicate. And if I'm going to use a label, I suppose I am a gardener. I plant seeds, and then as they are created into individual videos, they grow into trees, which the growth can be seen in the number of viewing figures. Some do better than others. It just depends on how well those seeds have been planted, I suppose. But that's entirely up to you. You take whatever seed into you that feels right with you, and visualize taking out a seed if it's a bad one. You don't want it growing in bad ground. You want it to grow straight to the light, which is what we do. I was going to include some stills from Captain Kirk channel, which everything I watch is guided in one way or another. What was I watching yesterday? Ultravox, reforming after 20 years. And a very interesting line by the bass player, Chris Cross, who said it's like marrying your first wife again when a band reforms. Those niggling little things about which ones leave the top of the toothpaste and things like that. It's quite amusing. But I was thinking about a seed I have planted as a wish It's recent, so it's still in the conscious memory, because a lot of these things that we think of, we forget. But those seeds are planted. You've created those thoughts. You've had feelings from those thoughts, and you've started a process off that does come about. You see, everything is of everybody's own making. This whole way of looking at things of why does it happen to me, for example, is looking the wrong way round. It happens to you because you've created it. Now, my thought was, I would like to see humanity restored to its original conception. And it's from that, it's led me down a path that has brought information. And it would be like remarrying the first wife. Well, what is your first wife? It is your bringing together those two halves, your very own 9/11, the two towers, your two temples, the left and right hemispheres, bringing them back so they can talk to each other. They talk through feeling. Whatever the conscious mind takes in, the unconscious will respond from the feeling from that conscious mind, and it will give out that whatever that feeling is. That's exactly how the medium of the media works with the mirror screen world that is all around. Everything around you is a screen. It is all an outward projection from what you've taken in through these eyes, from what you've looked at, and it's all stored in the unconscious, your Akashic record, you could call it. It's all there, whether you remember it consciously or not. And there is an awful lot of unconscious thinking, speaking, and actions out there. I think you can, if you're on the same wavelength as I am, I don't even need to talk about what that is. And we don't want to dwell on such things, because it is a wonder. Everything is a wonder. It just depends on how you look at it. I'm overlapping into an idea I'd had for a video, but this has sort of superseded it, and I could so easily sort of switch into that, but I don't want to do that at this stage without having the images up. So I will hold that over for a future video. So I am sort of bit of meandering with these thoughts at the moment. But my friend manifested this beautiful weather. How do I know this? I know this to be true because I have proven this, I have tested this and proven it to myself, that imaginal acts create facts. They really do. The phone was the proof of that. Every time I go shopping is the proof of that, because I also remember the future. See, we slide on this time scale, this linear time in our mind. You can see yourself, instead of looking at the shopping with an anticipation of dread and fear and how badly it will go, just sit there, go within, remember when you've come back from that shopping. Although physically you haven't done it yet, in your mind you've already done it. Now you remember while you're sitting here like I am, and you're having a coffee and thinking, that wasn't so bad after all. And today it was wonderful because I did meet real humans. And when I say real humans, those that still have the ability to think for themselves. Because remember, the earth was placed in a firmament. Well, what is a ment? It is a mind. We are in the dream within a dream. As I've said before, a comet is a passing thought, a flash of inspiration. We are characters in the dream. But we don't know who we are, or most of us don't. Everybody says it. I am. Now, something I do want to touch on in a future video is the historical basis for this Jesus. But suffice for me to say at this point, or the only thing I need to tell you about that is the fully formed story of the search for the Grail and the Arthurian legends came back fully formed from France. Going with this narrative that we're given, it's still possible to pick away at the pieces, and this has been done. Not by myself, but it makes perfect sense. But it's the point that it came fully formed through France to England. Because what is I am in French? Je suis. Well, you take the I out of je suis, and what have you got? Jesus, which still means I am. But personally, I prefer to say Christ consciousness, the power and the wisdom of God, which is your own human, wonderful imagination. That is God. God is in Golgotha, is in your skull. Every thought is God working through you. But without the wisdom and the power of that Christ consciousness, the sun coming up into the heavens and having that birth from above, all those ideas and thoughts, continuously, all the time, ask yourself, are they the highest thoughts? What impact is that going to have? Is it right to tell everybody about the horrors without giving them something good in return? Very interesting post I happened to see today as well was talking about George Orwell's 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. And I will have to agree that the Aldous Huxley suggests something, that there is no Big Brother, although you obviously see all the security cameras everywhere, all the spying and the two-way cameras on the phones and through all the social media. But largely there is no Big Brother, it is just suggestions which humanity take in and then act upon those suggestions, which are all fear-based, of course. They're not from a place of love, are they? But it depends, what is your government? A firmament means a sound, firm basis, does it not? Well, that would imply a sound mind, and it is all sound vibration. This is why there was the vowel shift, to change the spelling, change the sound vibration, changes this reality. So yes, I know what my friend has done has manifested this weather. It doesn't matter if anybody else believes it. They know it, they feel it, I can confirm it, and I'm sure there are other people who can. And collectively, I would suggest also that that intention and thought was strengthened by a thought wave of wanting nicer weather, which is exactly what we have today. I feel also there is the thing, you could say, the geoengineering, and it may well be that tomorrow will be the most awful foul weather in contrast, same as it was with the autumn equinox, when we had that one, almost like marking the last day of summer and then plunged into the wet and windy weather and much colder. But we can change it as well. So even by looking at things like 1984 and A Brave New World and the Hunger Games and all those things, our subconscious is taking all that in. And although we may not consciously realising it, by taking all that information in, we are also projecting it out onto the screen of the world around us. But it's sitting in that balance within the middle of what you're projecting out and what you're taking in. That's the key to all this, staying in that middle path. I will actually mention something, because it does tie into this, but I will come back to it on a future video. I'm sure most of you have seen the numerous references to the third eye in religions. The Sikh turban forms like a So it keeps the third eye clear. You've got the bindi dot in Hindu, and then think about the way most people pray, particularly on the Indian continent. It's like this. And going into the Far Eastern, well, I would suggest, is that not a projection? Sending out with the hands, forming possibly a circuit that projects out by doing that action. That's what I took from that, and because when you start looking at all these religions, how you've got this reference to the third eye. Obviously, with Christianity, you have Ash Wednesday. Well, if you put ash into your eyes, then you're not going to see very well. And certainly, all the Abrahamistic religions are worshipping a fake, external God, because the Creator is within you. It is your own human wonderful imagination. That is where it all is created. We are the Creator in personalized, most constricted forms as an experience from which we are to grow. We are the seeds, as it were. These biovessels house those seeds. They are the earth of those seeds. That Christ consciousness which is in your place of the sun, your house of bread, your solar plexus. Because that is your best guide with everything. Trust in your gut. If something doesn't feel right, regardless of all the evidence that is faced to the eyes of the deceiver for you to take in, if this is telling you otherwise, that's where you want to be listening to. Not anybody else, not me, not any other channel. Go with what feels right inside you. Do not even base it on any information that you've been given. Evaluate that information, weigh it up. But remember, everything out there is out there. It's external to you. It's not come from within you, except that which you create from the feelings that you get from anything you see out there. It's two-way traffic with this projection. It's what you take in, it's what you project out. Who am I to make a judgment whether the poor man or the rich man or whoever or whatever is right or wrong, is good or bad? It's just a change of polarity. Your experience may be that you were born into poverty, but you don't have to stay in that state of mind of poverty. You can think your way out of it, quite literally and figuratively, because it is all about thinking, it is all about feeling, it is all about remembering the future. Remembering, using your imagination of being, imagine what it is like to be what you wish to be, and import that feeling within yourself to create that you wish to be. That is all it takes. There is a mandatory test on all of humanity. Remember, they always talk in the mirror speak, but the test is denying all the fear, all the illusions of that external screen, and finding that inner strength and standing in your own power, because you will know inside you. I can say that I am the living word. That does not put me into some special category above anybody else, any more than if I was a rich man or a poor man. In many ways I am rich, because if I get a £10,000 fine, well, they can take it out the value of the birth certificates, because that is what that fine will be going to. A summons, you can only summons the dead, so take it off the value of that. It's nothing to do with me. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Well, you put the value on that certificate, you can take as much of it you want. I don't really care. It's nothing to do with me. This is just an outer garment. But I prefer to be a presence that I present as a gift. Whether anybody wishes to listen to that, well, that is entirely up to them. We're nearly up to, we are up to 20 minutes now, so a few sort of meandering thoughts, which I hope will make sense to some of you. It's been in some ways a bit of an exasperating day, because I feel so sort of physically drained with this chronic fatigue syndrome, which I have to work round. But then I'm also torn because it's beautiful weather today and I wanted to be outside and enjoy it, and obviously there are things in this external world where we are walking two worlds, so we have to try and juggle things. So I got an opportunity and I thought I will make this presentation now, and yeah, there will be some more videos. There's plenty of things I still want to share and talk about and discuss. My own personal experiences of this spiritual path. That's all I can talk about. I can only testify to personal experience of things, and that is all I will do. I will not advocate anything that I cannot test and try for myself and let you know the outcome of those experiences. But regardless of what is thrown on the screen to you and from that exterior world, just keep in mind, keep in that centre point of what is it trying to do to you? How is it trying to get you to respond to that? Are you going to react? Are you going to stay in your inner peace? Are you going to allow yourself to be rocked by those emotions, those energy motions, those negative thoughts? I prefer not to. I don't want to play the part of Atlas where I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. I've done that and I don't wish to do that anymore, and it is uplifting having that weight lifted off the shoulders. And so despite whatever is going on out there, it's not going on in here. And where better place to start with anything is at the start with oneself. So get your own house in order, get everything right and in alignment within oneself, and then can start projecting that out. Remember, we're magnets. If you're in a state of fear, you will attract more fear. If you are